Building an aesthetic physique is the number one highest leverage task that you can do. If you're an ambitious man, and it's not because of how it makes you look, but it's because who it forces you to become. And most guys think that your physique is a fitness goal, but when it's done correctly, which I will talk you through, it becomes a high performance tool for life. You increase your confidence, you build the physique, you build the mindset. It raises the standards that you live by in your day-to-day life, and that directly has impact on your career, your business, your income, your relationships, and your network. And trust me when I say this, I've lived through this. I know firsthand the power of going all in and building your physique can actually have on your life. And everything I speak through, guys, you'll know by now. If you've watched a couple of my stuff, if not, if you're new here, you'll get to know. Everything I speak is through my lived experience from myself or my clients. It's never just theory out of a textbook. So I went from working on a construction site to building an online multi-six-figure business. And that 110% was down to me first building my physique. What I quickly realized was building an aesthetic physique, getting to that 10% body fat, it turned me into the person that could then be disciplined in other areas of my life. So my mindset, I started listening to a lot more podcasts. I really dove deep into the inner work. My career, I started investing in myself and just actually had the discipline to then sit down. It was a self-made or self-taught course. I had the discipline to sit down through that. But why? Why did I have the discipline to sit down through it? Because I had the discipline to go to the gym and might delay gratification from building a physique. Because building a physique, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes consistency. And being 100% honest, you need to be precise with what you're doing. How many people do you know that go to the gym for 6 months, a year, and they look the exact same? What does that mean? That if they will do that with their physique, they'll probably do that with their business. They'll probably do that with their relationships. They'll let things off on the back burner. But once someone that commits all in with their physique for a 6-month period, that probably means, and more than likely, and I've seen it time and time again, and from my own experience, you track your lifts, your nutrition, your macros. You're going to track your KPIs. You're going to track what needs to be tracked in your business. You're going to have the difficult conversations because you're like, okay, this is a bottleneck that I need to overcome, or this is something that I need to make sure that I fix right now because I'm not just going to let this keep going. But it's the person who's in the gym for 6 months at a time and is just getting in there, they're just going through it, they still look the same, but their goal is to reduce body fat, but 6 months later, they're still in the same position. That person, I can guarantee you, and I was that person, does not follow through on anything he says in any area of his life. So committing and building an aesthetic physique, it proves to yourself, it proves to the world that you commit and you follow through on your word. And that's the most powerful thing that we do have as guys, is to follow through on our word. If we say we're going to build a business, we fucking build a business. If we say we're going to build a physique, we build a physique. You have to follow through on what it is you say you're going to do. On the flip side, you don't follow through. What happens? I've been there, guys, as well. I'm not trying to speak from a place of hierarchy or above. I'm just speaking my truth and what I see happen on a daily basis. If you say you're going to commit to the gym and you're going to get abs, but you don't do it, you're losing that self-trust within yourself. You say you're going to get up early, but you don't. Oh, well, that's just me lying to myself again. You say you're going to go to the gym, hit your macros, make sure that you focus on your education to educate or to expand your skill set, but you don't. You're just fucking letting yourself down, and then that becomes who you are. That becomes your identity. You say you're going to do something, but you just don't do it. And that is one way to stay stuck and actually regress in life, because there is what we have, the law of polarity. Masculine, feminine, up, down, hot, cold, in, out, growth, decay. So if you're not growing each and every day, you're slowly dying. Okay, as extreme as it sounds, we want to be focused on growth. And when you commit to the gym and you build a physique, you are a guy that has proven to yourself that you can commit, you can follow the plan, you can go all in, and you can build a physique. That is growth, okay? You then take those same traits and you can apply it to your business, to your relationships, to whatever area of your life. You have built the traits, and it's specific traits that is the most important thing. Okay, we can all look for these shortcuts. We can all look for the magic formula to scale a business, or even just to, get out of our 9-to-5 job, or to even just getting a promotion, whatever it is. There's no right or wrong path. But I have beliefs about what has been my truth and what I can see works with guys. And one fucking belief that you will never, ever see me go back on, ever, I will carry this to my grave, is that building an aesthetic physique is the highest leverage task that will improve all areas of your life. And I know it, I've seen it happen time and time again, and I've lived it. But what I do also want you to take into consideration, and again, this is just from all the mistakes that I've made, the trial and error that I've made over the years, is I've done the bodybuilding photo shoots. I've really, really aggressive, fucking taken fat burners, the whole lot. I've done the keto approach, which is good for a period of time. But after a while, your physique starts to look a little bit skinny or flat, you're depleted. Cognitive function, strong. Okay, so when you combine the two of them, bodybuilding, I looked amazing. Keto, I felt amazing, but the physique just wasn't aesthetic. It wasn't what I wanted. I've done the Hyrox approaches. I've done strength training. I've done everything. Okay, and each time you get benefits in different ways. Obviously, strength training, strength increases. Keto, cognitive function. Bodybuilding, you look like a fucking bodybuilder. Whether you like it or not, you look good. What we want to do, and what I've noticed is I've never got the full 360, and for me, that's the most important thing, and that's why I believe that building your physique in a specific way is the most important. It's not just about building your physique, but it's about becoming an aesthetic high performer. So you need to set up your diet in a specific way that you have your total macros throughout the day, your protein, your carbs, and your fats. They're your macronutrients. You have them, your total daily amount, okay? But you then break them up into at least 4 meals per day, and you split those macronutrients up to prioritize carbohydrates in and around training, and higher fat, higher protein in and around your deeper work blocks, your creative work, okay? When you're going to be sitting down on your business tasks, moving the needle movers, when you're going to be focused on client fulfillment, or when you're just going to be actually educating yourself to get that promotion or to get out of your 9-to-5, whatever it might be, guys, okay? You time your macros around that. So you're still getting really, really good and sharp mental performance, but you have your macros set up in a way as well that you're building the aesthetic physique. Okay, so I'm basically have combined everything that I've done into a specific formula. I call it the total control, nutrition and timing, okay? That's the diet side of things. So you get very specific on your deeper work blocks, your training, and you essentially time your nutrients in and around there. Very, very important, okay? Because we've all done it before, I'm sure. You'd wake up in the morning, you'll have an extremely large bowl of oats, cereal, whatever it might be. You get this massive spike in blood sugar, but the next thing, boom, you crash, and you're wondering why you need 10 cups of coffee to get you through the day, and you're having these midday slumps, okay? So nutrient timing is so fucking important. Then we set your training up in a way that we're not overtraining, essentially. That's what it is. Because when I've done the bodybuilding approach, I was in the gym for 2 hours. That's just weights. And then cardio on top of that. You come home, you're absolutely fatigued. You're having the big bowl of oats because that's what you need to replenish your glycogen, which is true, but not to the extremes that I was doing in that bodybuilding approach. I'd literally lie in bed for the day. I was fatigued. I was no good for nothing. And my business actually suffered. Then the keto approach, again, physique suffered, okay? Don't want to dive too much into that. So what we want to then do is with your training, got a little bit off topic, apologies. Then when we go back into your training, essentially what we want to do is we want to have your training set up in a way that you're 2 sets max on your bigger compound movements, and you can go maybe 3 then on your smaller isolation movements, because these bigger movements like your squat, your bench press, your deadlifts, they're a lot more fatiguing and demanding on the body. Okay, it's going to cause a lot more fatigue on the central nervous system. So we want to minimize that, but we just want to make sure that we're doing enough volume and enough load that we're actually creating growth. We're getting the response that we want, but not too much to the point where it's actually leaving us fatigued and taking us days to recover. And again, it just drains so much of our energy. We want to go into the gym. We want to set it up in a way that we're building muscle, but not overly training that our recovery takes a hit, and then again it just takes away from every other area of our life. Okay, so that's the way you want to set it up. I truly believe, and I know 110% that building your physique in a very specific way, getting to that 10 to 12% body fat, having an aesthetic physique, but built in a way that you're an aesthetic high performer, that you can just be a savage in every area of your life, that will transform your life. I promise you. And if you're an ambitious guy, this is what you need to do, because it is your daily habits that dictate your future. If you're waking up, slamming cups of coffee, you're not doing your morning alignment work, you're not getting clear on your goals, your intentions, what needs to happen to get you to where you want to be, and you're then not ticking them off on a daily basis, what do you think is going to happen? You're not going to get to where you want. Get your morning alignment dialed in, your training, your nutrition, your calendar setup. Key, the controlled growth framework to get your calendar set up. So you're prioritizing the highest leverage tasks. And then your supplementations. But I'll touch again. I can do a big deep dive into all of them another time for you guys. So if you do want that, and guys, if ever you want to ask me any questions or anything, you know, as I said, I love speaking to the camera, and I love speaking to people about this. I can talk about this all day, every day. So if you want to know anything or want to have a conversation about anything, just drop me a, you don't even have to drop me a follow. Do drop me a follow, actually. Drop me a follow, subscribe to this channel as well. Like the comment, like the video. But go on to Instagram, @ShameyP, and just drop me a message. If you have any questions on anything, if you've watched previous videos or anything, but on this video, if you want to know more, you know, I'll even send you across a training split if you want, or an example diet plan. I can send them across to you happily. I'll do that for you. So that's the way. Build an aesthetic physique, become an aesthetic high performer, and life becomes a game. You wake up, as I said, you get clear on your intentions, you understand what you're working towards, you set your diet up in a way, you set your training up in a way, you build a physique. As I said, it commands respect from other people, from the opposite sex, from the same sex. Men respect you more. Women are more attracted to you. Of course they are. Wouldn't they be? You're more fucking attracted to yourself, which you want to look in the mirror and say, boom, I'm the man. And that doesn't just come down from what you look like, because I've been in great shape and I've looked in the mirror, but I'm like, I felt like that. You know, I had vices still. But once you eliminate those vices and you build yourself in a specific way with your mind, your body, your habits, you turn into a different fucking savage. Okay? Peace and love.